Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel PantherSchools, that is SFDC Panther 2.0. My name is Amit Singh, as you all know, and from this video onwards, we are going to share some mock interview videos. Those are going to be basically the audio files that we are going to share with you all here. So we are going to share two or three interviews on a not on a daily basis, on a weekly basis over here in this YouTube channel. So please go ahead, do like, share, subscribe. If you have not done, please share with your friends so that the other people can also get the benefit from this. And yes, if you really want to get into a mock interview, I'm going to put some link into the description of this video. Please go ahead, do check out those links, and then reach out to us. We would be happy to help you in your mock interviews. Now let's quickly get started with the interview.
Priyanka, what's the actual difference between the Sable CRM and Salesforce as per your experience?
Mhm. The major differences, both are CRM tools, and functionally and entity-wise, everything is similar in both the tools. The only thing is Siebel CRM is it's not cloud-based. Everything has to be installed, and but Salesforce is a cloud-based. We don't need to purchase or maintain any hardware. Plus, the things which I have faced means while developing is that Sibyl is a bit complicated to develop. Like we have database layer and then we have something called as business logic layer. But here in Salesforce, architecture is very simple. Means there's no database difference. We can directly access objects. So these are the few differences which I found as part of development. But functionally, it is more or less very same because we have same entities, we have same sales process like accounts, contacts, opportunities. So yeah, that's where it is similar.
All right. So just can you let me know what's the difference between profile and permission set?
Uh, Okay. Yeah. So profile and permission set is it deals with the accessibility sharing rules. So profiles and permission set helps us to build access for objects and field level. Profile is I can say that the most restrictive settings we give on profile, and then if we want to open up anything, so we give that via permission set. As the name suggests, we are permitting it. So that's the main difference between the two. The things which we
Can
can
you
control, yeah,
elaborate it with an example?
yeah. Suppose I have two roles, sales and manager, and both of them have same set of accessibility. But manager must be having some few more permissions. So in that case, what I will do is I will create two profiles with similar settings. Let us say on account object, I'm going to give create read access for both the profiles. But since manager can also edit it, I will create one more permission set, provide edit access on the object, and give that permission set to that manager.
We are creating two profiles as well.
Yeah, and any additional access will be given via permission set. Or
Okay.
we cannot we need not create two profiles. We can create one profile. That's the whole objective of it. One profile given to both the users and permission set to overcome it.
Okay. Can one user have two profiles?
No, one user can have only one profile.
Okay. And can one profile be assigned to multiple users?
Yes, as I mentioned in the example also. So two users can have same profile.
Okay. So Priyanka, let me know what do you understand by view state?
View state, it is the error which is spaced for visual force pages, and it is because of some limitations, because this page has 135 kb of character limit, and if it exceeds, this error comes up.
Okay. In the previous release, this is extended to 170 KB for your knowledge.
Okay.
Yeah. So, what are the best practices to write an Apex trigger?
Okay, so few of the best practices is first thing is we should use context variables. Why context variables is because we have various events, and ideally, first thing is we should not write multiple triggers on the same object. Rather, we should have those events in one trigger. But how do we identify when it is getting triggered because of which event? So we should make use of context variable wisely. Like, suppose if before is insert, if this trigger was fired because of its insert, so that should be like is before and is insert if clause. So after that, sub processing should happen. First thing is that. And second thing is we should if we are making any call out to third party from trigger, so in that case we should make sure that we are calling it in future, using future annotation. Why? Because call out, we cannot block the thread, we cannot block the user for waiting for the response. So we should use at the rate future annotation in the trigger. Second thing is third thing is we should avoid calling the SOQL or DML operations inside the for loops, because again Salesforce is a multi-tenant environment and there are various governor limits, and that should not cross. So these are a few best practices.
Okay. So, what is the difference between the before and after event?
Okay, so before event is before the record is, I mean, saved, and after is like after the commit has means happened uh, in the database. So usually we use before when we are operating on the same record, or we want to validate something. In that case, we should go for before. And if we are working with some related records, in that case, we'll go for after event.
So, what's the minimum percentage criteria to cover the code?
It's minimum is 75%.
Okay, so can I deploy a class with less than 75% into production?
No.
Okay. So suppose I am having one private method in my Apex class and I
Mhm.
want to get it covered through my test class. How will I achieve it?
Mhm. Uh, we There's one utility, or I can say annotation, which is called as test visible.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to make sure that we are annotating that method with at the rate test visible in order to access it, and yes, to pass the test.
Okay, great. What's the difference between the SQL and SOQL?
Okay, SQL, both are more or less same, but one thing in SQL is we can both are used for selecting, right, for querying. But in SQL, we can write all strict means to get all the records, select all from, let's suppose, account. But
Mm-hmm.
here in SOQL, we cannot write all because it's on the cloud. We have to means mention or what all fields I want to retrieve from database.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
yeah. And yeah, in SQL we write join, whereas joins we don't write on SOQL.
Okay. So how many types of relationships are available in Salesforce?
Okay, so basically, main are two, master detail and lookup. But apart from that, we have three more, which is hierarchical, self relationship, and many to many. These are the hierarchical and self is nothing but a special type of lookup relationship, and many to many is means using master detail only. So there are total five relationships, types of relationships, and Salesforce.
Okay, so what's the difference between a lookup and master detail? Can you explain?
Yes, both are used to relate to objects, but in lookup, it is loosely coupled, and master detail is tightly coupled. What do we mean by this coupling is in master detail, everything is controlled by parent, whereas that is not the case with lookup. In lookup, the child record can be there without a parent. That's the one
Okay.
difference. And yeah, by controlling we mean that the record accessibility and all those things will be controlled by parent, but that's not the case with lookup.
Okay. So have you heard about the term cascading delete?
Yes, means
Mm,
by cascading, as the word suggests, if we are deleting a parent, child will be deleted.
yeah. Okay. So, what do you understand by the order of execution in Salesforce?
Okay, because we have many processes in our Salesforce. So, like we have validation rules, triggers. In that triggers also we have before event, after event. But apart from that, we have point and click tools like assignment rule, uh, system validation rules. So all these things on a same object, this must be happening in some order. So this
Mm,
is where our order of execution comes into the picture. Like
okay.
yeah, this certain order, like first the system validations are called first, and obviously it's our system. So and then custom validations are called, and then if there is a trigger, first the before events are called, and then after events, and and then workflow rules are called. And in workflow, if suppose there's something which is updating again, then again the, I think, system validations are called, but not the custom validation. So in this way, two times triggers are called, and following that we have other validation rules which is called. Yeah, so this is the order.
Okay. So suppose I am having one scenario.
Hmm.
Uh, I am updating a field through workflow on one record. Okay.
Okay.
And on the same object, I have written one trigger that's creating a task.
Okay.
Okay. So once the field will be updated through workflow, that's the one thing, and the trigger is triggering on the same object. Whenever that object is when record is updated, one task will be created. So in this case, how many tasks will be created? Because workflow and trigger both are on the same object.
Okay. So workflow is on one object with same object, and this is causing updating of it, correct?
Yeah.
And from and we have a trigger,
Yeah.
which is again updating the same object, right?
It's based on the update. If the record is updated, then it will create a
Mhm.
related task.
Okay. And what is the rules on the workflow? Because
Rule
there might be chances of recursiveness because we are updating something on task,
talking
and
about
again
the
trigger is
recursive workflow, this is simple, means just like a field update. Can be any
okay.
criteria. It's just updating a field. And
Mm-hmm.
trigger is on the criteria when a record is updated. then it will
Mm-hmm.
create a task.
Okay.
So one
Uh,
task created when the field will be updated on the object, trigger will create one task.
mm-hmm.
So I
I think
know to
there must be some loop. There is chance of some looping over here because workflow will update, trigger is there, and then again it will call this uh, trigger to occur.
yeah. So how many tasks will be created?
Hmm. I think it will error out multiple tasks. It will go into some infinite loop of thing.
Okay. All right. So Priyanka, what's the difference between the SOQL and SOSL?
Um, SOQL we use when we are aware about where do we want to search or query. Means it is dependent on one object only, whereas that's not the case with SOSL. We can be searching across multiple objects when we are not sure where we need to find this data. So yeah, SOQL is based on one object. SSL is based on multiple objects. That's
Okay.
the main difference between the two.
Okay, Priyanka, that's all from my end. Do you have any question for me?
Um, okay, yeah, no questions as such.
Okay, Priyanka, so that's good. Means you have prepared well and means you have worked, but yeah, so you need to like brush a few things in your.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. First of all, do trailhead as much as you can because means you get to know the latest what's going on in Salesforce and
Okay.
read about the updates that are coming in Salesforce and just keep doing the challenges.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Another thing is that like I asked about the order of execution question and gave you the scenario. So
Mm-hmm.
you just not need to just learn the things and the order of education. Like if I
Yeah.
am giving a scenario, you yourself told only that workflow when workflow will update, then trigger will trigger one more time again, right?
Mm-hmm.
Scenario also it's the same. When the field is getting updated,
Hmm.
it will create one more task again, but it will create only once.
Okay.
So means it will not go
Mm-hmm.
in a mode because it will fire only once the workflow will update the field.
Okay. So
Okay.
the means we have a workflow, right? And workflow we are updating tasks.
Yeah.
That's one thing, right? And
No,
trigger.
workflow we were just updating the field.
Okay.
Yeah. So trigger was creating the task on the field update.
Okay.
Yeah. So once the trigger will workflow will update, trigger will fire one more time, and it will not
Okay.
fire again. It will not go into.
Okay.
Okay.
Means
Apart from
mm-hmm. Yeah.
yeah, apart from that, that's good. And just go through the little more into lightning and integration as well because it's in
Mm-hmm.
demand as companies keep
Yeah.
on Sales Cloud.
Mm-hmm.
So things are good. Your basics are good, but
Mm-hmm.
keep on about the lightning. Now you have seen that LWC has also come up.
Yes. Yes.
So
So,
we you
but
should
see, in integration there are many things like REST API and SOAP API.
right.
So, if I'll say that I know integration, means
No,
just knowing
that's
about.
good. Yeah, in the interview time, whatever you know, just be genuine to the interviewer. If you
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
know, yeah,
Yeah.
just say I'm not sure about it, or I know what you know, just tell. But see, things will come up when you will learn and you will practice things. You can means
Hmm.
you can read the thing, but until you will practice,
Mm-hmm.
then it will be like that only. So yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
just practice and get to know about the integration, these things, and that will be good. That's fine.
Okay. And what about VS pages? I need to brush up
See,
on that.
VF pages, see now, see after VF pages, now Lightning components were coming, then now
Mm-hmm.
LW come. So it's not
Mm-hmm.
like means companies are not working on VF pages. It's now
Mm-hmm.
old, means not many companies are working on it. But yes, if you want to grab the knowledge, just go to the trailheads. Like if you are not getting the work on VF pages in your current company, you just go to
Mm-hmm.
the, and there are many resources on the internet like SFDC
Mm-hmm.
Panther. So you will get to know the different things. Like you can
Mm-hmm.
understand, see different scenarios on the Google or the
Mm-hmm.
Salesforce VF.
Mm-hmm.
There are videos on YouTube as well.
Hmm.
So as me,
And
you will get.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. And one more thing, which is when we are working on project, obviously we are taking care of things from end to end, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, like not only the development, we take care of deployment also, right? So, but those things which these things we cannot get knowledge from Trailhead, I think, for deployment part. So I'm
See,
skeptical about how they will, if they will ask how the deployment is done in your project.
for the deployment, if you are new, so you can say that. See, if you can read about the deployment, so there are change sets that are
Hmm.
used to the change set. So there are two types of change set. You can tell that inbound and outbound.
Hmm.
You can read about it. You will get information in the Salesforce documentation as well for
Hmm.
the for deployment. So it means not a big thing that you have to worry about. That is something that once you will practice, that will be good. But you can read about it. It's not a rocket science in that. So you just
Yeah.
need, like you are deploying from sandbox to production. So you will
Hmm.
just from setup outbound change set, and you will just add your component whatever you want to deploy, and in the production you get the inbound change set and you can directly validate and deploy.
Hmm. Correct. This much I know. Like we need to have a connection, and there is something else outbound from where we are sending it is outbound, and where we are importing it is inbound. We need to
Right, right.
validate those things, and then here also before sending we have to check the field dependency. Correct.
Yeah.
But this is the basic. Again, the things come in. This is basic, which I know. What if they go deep, dive deep into the details? Like there are few limitations in change set, right? If you're deleting a field, suppose. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that we can do from the change set. And means I don't have one full scenario which I can explain from start to end. I know in bits and pieces. You're getting.
I'm
And
getting it.
I know it can be done, but right now I am asking you from the perspective of interview which I have tomorrow. I cannot just grasp all the things in means overnight, right?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So see, whatever you have achieved or learned and you have gathered the knowledge till now, just be focused on that as well. See, in interview, see, Salesforce is a big platform. There are a lot of things to
Hmm.
ask. You have to
Yes,
grow.
yes.
You have to based on your understanding, whatever you have learned and what knowledge you have. If you
Mm-hmm.
will be asking question out of your knowledge, you will just say I'm not sure about it, because until and unless you have worked on that particular part, how will you
Hmm.
be able to explain the scenario? Like if you are telling that I know about the deployment, but I have not worked on that, means some scenario you have
Okay.
not. Yeah. So
Okay.
you just read about whatever you know, because
Okay.
once
Okay.
you will be
Hmm.
having the project later on in the future, then
Hmm.
you will be having the hands-on knowledge. But currently
Hmm.
you can just read and you can do trailhead and whatever mini project you can do. See, there are supervisors in trailhead as well, so these are like the mini
Yeah. Yeah.
projects. So you
Hmm.
can do the hands on that as well. So you will get the idea, and there you will get the scenario as well, means how the things are working. So in the interview
Hmm.
part, you don't need to tell everything. Means they are not expecting even you to be perfect. They are just
Hmm.
they are just your approach how you will be able to get the things done.
Could you please let us know what is the basic difference between process builder and workflow rules?
Yeah, both are point and click tool and mostly used for automation. But for workflow, we have basically four types of action only available, which is updating a field, sending email, and outbound message, or creating a task. That's the only four action available in workflow. Whereas in process builder is much more advanced version, and we have with this features we have few more features, like we can call another flow or approval process, or posting to chatter, creating a record, updating a record. Yeah, that's the main difference between the two. And second thing is, in workflow especially, we can update field on the means on the field, same field, or the related field, but it has to be from parent, which that too if it is related with master details. But that's not the case with process builder. We can update any related field, and yeah, that's the major two difference between the workflow and process builder.
Okay, can we control order of execution for workflow? Suppose that we have.
We cannot. We cannot. Yeah, that's a limitation. That's why it is said that we should have only one workflow, because we cannot control. But in process builder, we can.
Okay, cool. So, do you have idea about sharing settings?
Yes, I have idea on it.
Okay, so in OWD we do have three options, right? What are those
Yeah.
three options, and what is the use of it?
Yes. So we have three options. First one is private, another is public read write, and public read only. And as in sharing settings, OWD is the most, means ideally we should give the most, as per our scenario, most restrictive settings over here. And for that we will give private, and then we open up with other options like role hierarchy or sharing rules, like that.
Okay,
So
so how
public,
many ways we can share record in Salesforce?
uh, we can share records via these three methods, like OWD, role hierarchy, and then above that is sharing rules. And if it is not done via these three, then manual sharing. And we can do programmatically also from Apex classes. But first we should look over here on this four options which is given by Salesforce.
Okay, so here is a scenario for you on the security sharing records. And
Okay.
suppose that I have an object, custom object called ABC, and in that object, I don't see the button called sharing for sharing a record manually. What could be the issue behind that?
Okay. First thing is, we are not able to see, which means that it is already open. Means we have public read write access uh, uh, set on OWD. And second thing is, uh, in Lightning experience, this button is not available. This is this button is visible on classic application.
Okay, great.
This can be two scenarios. Yeah.
Okay, so in profile level, we have a setting called login IP ranges. So what is the
Yeah.
use of that setting?
Okay, so this is another way of data security and sharing, which is done on profile level, and we can define the IP ranges. If if it is defined on, sorry, you said on profile or organization?
Profile.
Okay, so if it is on profile, it means that user will be either able to be able to log in or not, either in or out. Whereas my reason behind asking is, if it was on organization and if that IP doesn't fall in that range, we have something called two-factor authentication available. The user gets authentication code and then will be able to log in. But if it is on profile, then either in or out.
Okay, great. So I think we are done from our side, and the only thing that you need to work on is all the suggestions that Akash suggested you. Those are the main
Mm-hmm.
points for working with.